Hello world, thank you for tuning into my video. I'd like to talk about something a little different than what I've been posting in the past. I want to talk about scams, more importantly, scams that have to do with applying places. There's plenty of YouTube videos about tech support scams, and for that I recommend highly watching a video such made by Jim Browning. For tech support scams and for a deeper analysis into things. But here I want to talk about a scam that he doesn't really talk about too much. I don't see a lot of people talking about on YouTube, and that is the job interview scam. So what is the job interview scam? Well, the job interview scam targets the person who's in between jobs, or just anybody whose email is out there on LinkedIn, and is trying to get them to fall for their scam. What are they trying to get? Well, what they're trying to get is that they're trying to get either your social security number or your credit card number, and when they get that, they either drain your bank account or they just steal your identity, depending on what you give them. And it's really garbage when you think about it, because who's the job applicant? Well, the job applicant's anybody. It's either the person who has 7 years experience and is maybe doing some freelance work while they're in between their serious job. It could be the person who just got out of college, has no money really to spend on things, and maybe they're not just a college student, maybe they're a vocational school student, maybe they're a coding boot camp student, and they recently graduated. They're looking for their first break into that industry, and it's the money thing there's a shortage, so. That's really, frustrating and aggravating to anybody. Really, it's a waste of your time and your inbox space. So let's talk. So I want to go ahead and walk you through the experience that I had recently with one of these scam interviews. It was actually my first scam interview, and it got me so riled up. I decided, you know what? We're gonna make a small video about this. We're gonna do something about this and discuss what is going on. So we got our first email here, and the first thing you can notice that is the grammar is a little off, and it's not just, this isn't just an English thing. If you're trying to get a job in Germany and you're speaking German, and the grammar isn't very good even for German, if it's not good for the German language, then you should really be aware, regardless. So right here, so an example here, you have required to set up a Gmail account and download Google Hangout. Okay, firstly, saying you have required, that doesn't make sense. Also, and download Google Hangout, oh, is that different from Google Hangouts? Well, no, because the link they provide even says Hangouts plural, which is bizarre. It's bizarre that he didn't even catch that. And then right here we can see a few other things I've highlighted that I'd like to discuss. The first thing, bobkeepdoing@gmail.com. What kind of email is that? That's weird. That's not an email that somebody posts or that's not a serious email. That is an email in which it's not a professional email. And @gmail.com emails typically are not work emails. Sometimes they might be, depending on the situation. People could be starting startups. Who knows? But bobkeepdoing@gmail.com, wild, ridiculous, silly. The next thing, very much towards the bottom, the hiring manager will let you know more about data entry, office assist, admin, clerk, front desk. He lists all these things. So I don't know what's going on with all this, but I'll tell you one thing. If you're applying somewhere, if you sent your resume to somebody, you typically have sent it to one job. So why is it that he's sending me all these things? To contact our hiring manager, he gives me her name and her Google Hangout email address. And then as well, make sure you are online on Tuesday, October 1st from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's a wild time frame. Typically, an interview, if it's on the phone, might be a little shorter. Might be 15, 45, maybe even an hour in length. And then a real in-person interview is going to be about an hour to an hour 15, maybe an hour and a half, depending on the time they have to give to you. On top of that, on the very bottom, best of luck, human resources. But I'm I'm confused as to why they didn't have like any other kind of information. They didn't have, Bob something, the company name. See, normally you'd get things like the company name, the person who emailed you, their contact information, maybe a phone number, rather it's a personal or business, up to them. You get all kind of information like that, but here I just get best of luck, human resources. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So I decided, but one other thing is that he never mentions the company. So I decided to email that email address saying, hey, I'm looking forward to speaking with you tomorrow. And I get, hello, you have come on Google Hangout. You have to come on Google Hangout because it's going to be an online interview. So firstly, again, Hangout is singular, not plural. That's wrong in its own way. But still, no information. Sometimes the information can get cut off below these three dots when you click, and then when you click them, it shows it. Sometimes Google's a little smart like that, or Gmail is rather. Excuse me. But in here, there's nothing. We've got no kind of information on the company, way to contact, a phone number. We have nothing. Going to the next page, we can see, welcome to Amanta Healthcare Limited. Okay, finally I've got something. Now, before we go to what Amanta Healthcare Limited is, we want to mention, you're not going to get an interview that's a chat like this. We're not here. We don't do this. And this is because this is unprofessional. Somebody wants to interview you. They want to see your face. They want to see how personal you can be. And they want to see you sell yourself to the company as a valuable asset, a valuable resource. And so a chat like this is pretty bizarre. Now, when you look up Amanta Healthcare Limited, it looks like they are a serious company that actually is in India. Now, when I Googled it, I realized this is about where I realized it alone, because let's face it, I know where I've applied to. I've only applied to one place outside the United States, and I'm gonna be honest, it was not India. I had nothing against India. It's just I haven't happened to apply to anywhere that is in India, remote or otherwise. I've applied to one I think Swedish company, if I remember right. It's one of the Nordic countries, but that was a remote position. And if you go to this company's to their LinkedIn, you can see, well, they look pretty legit. So what my guess is that this person is an imposter. She's pretending to be a representative of a company that she actually has no real affiliation with. Remember, she had an @Gmail account. Somebody from Amanta Healthcare probably has @amanta.com or something along that lines. So let's go ahead and get into this next bit here. The next bit here, the positions available are, and then a whole list of things. Look at that. Got vocational case manager, CDL driver, compliance risk manager, medical biller. Hilariously, there's also, where I'm looking for it right now, healthcare, customer care, auditing book, front desk sales manager. This is crazy. My job isn't really under there. And also, if you look closely towards the end, clerk and IT jobs, positions, that's broad. Others, which, if you're hiring for a company, you're going to be hiring for a specific role for everybody. You're not going to be offering just others, and then etc. for some reason. I can see maybe where etc. could be used, but not here. They're trying to cast the widest net possible to catch anybody who will respond. They ask for my employment history in my a little bit, and then they ask a few. Then they say, hey, are you able to do these things from home? This is your standard thing. They want to make it a home job because working from home is very valuable. It's very desirable. Who doesn't want to work from home? Who doesn't want to wake up in their pajamas and just go to work by going to the other room, to their office, or even not even getting out of bed, depending on the person you are. Lastly, on this particular thing, you can see that they use the curly brackets to sandwich Amanta Healthcare Limited. That should have been in the parentheses, but instead, that is a curly bracket. Why? I have no idea. And hilariously, as a software developer, I use those all the time. Don't get me wrong, But here it really makes no sense as to why we've got those curly boys there. So it's wild. And again, you know, this is a wide amount of people that they're fishing out for. This is a giant population of people with their own various different experiences here, and it's really upsetting to see, you know, any kind of scam. But this is another one that just it really makes me upset to see, because you know this ranges from the person with and the person without professional experience. So anyway, that's about all I have to say about this. Thank you for tuning in to my YouTube channel, and have a wonderful day.